Hello, this is a UIN special report. I'm Anita Bell, and I am here today with Herb Stratther of Strather's Academy and Strather's Real Estate Development. Mr. Herb Strathers, welcome to this UIN special report.
Thank you, Anita. It's good to be here. Yes.
I wanted you to tell me, or tell all of us a little bit, briefly, about who you are and what you do.
Okay. Well, I'm Herbert from Herbert Street, right here in Detroit. You know, I was born on the corner of Mack and Mount Elliott, and I was born very, very poor. But I found out that being born poor and being poor was a blessing. As a matter of fact, I got set outdoors when I was a kid, and it created in me a burning desire for it to never happen again, to be wealthy. And an Optimist Club came along, and they held the oratorical contest in my school. After many years, I won. Now, I had bumps all over my face and I stuttered. So I was poor, had bumps all over my face and I stuttered. So I was in pretty bad shape. As I was forced into the oratorical contest because I was in speech therapy. So, but now look at this. As a result of winning the oratorical contest, I became class president. Now, so I had a debt I could never ever repay, and an Optimist Club saved my life. So and in the city of Detroit, it's the city that I love, and I have another debt I can never repay. So from these humble beginnings, I've closed $2 billion in transactions. I was a chairman of Motor City Casino. I started the casino industry. I built Woodbridge for $100 million, and I've done a whole bunch of other developments in the city of Detroit. That's that. I've taken my resources and money, and I have provided 3,500 scholarships for young people here in the Detroit area. When Detroit was coming out of bankruptcy, I reached out to Mike Duggan and said, Mike, you're the man. We need you to help us to get out of bankruptcy, to get our city back on track. And I went around to the churches and I got beat up really good about it. But I don't apologize for it. I think it was the right thing to do at the right time, but now times have changed.
So you helped pen an article. It was blazing. It was blazing. Now, not everybody has read it already. So tell us a little bit of what you talked about in that Michigan Chronicle article. Well, what has changed?
What has changed? You know, the article is about why we cannot re-elect Mike Duggan at this point. Now, listen, what we need is more than good fiscal management, because as far as running the numbers and doing that, Mike has done a great job as far as the fiscal management. But we've been disenfranchised. Now, let me tell you why I oppose Mike at this point. Number one, Detroiters have lost more than $300 million since he's been in office in equity from their home. Now, let me explain. Wow. If you have income, for example, of less than $24,000, and it's a family of three, you are below the federal poverty level. You do not pay taxes. So someone, even a single person at $17,700 do not pay taxes. Well, these people lost their homes. That's impossible to lose your home for property taxes if you don't have any property taxes to pay. Now, so if you get someone that looked like me and looked like us, perhaps they would say, look, you don't really have to pay the taxes. These homes were lost, and hundreds of millions of dollars of profit was taken out of this. And the Wayne County, Detroit is enriched by it. So they've taken our equity. So the question I have to Mike, there's $827 million that we got from the American Rescue Plan. Is there any, are you going to address it at all? I called up his staff and they said, you know, that's the one thing we haven't really got to eat. What? Wait a minute. What? You have taken our equity and nobody knows it. Duggan has taken $300 million worth of our equity, but I know it. I said, oh my God.
Thank you. Thank you. You know. God.
So that's one. The other problem I got is a very, very serious problem with Dan Gilbert. Number one, I want Duggan to ask the question, is he his relative? Now, his best friend said they're definitely relatives. They was in elementary school.
By marriage or what?
I don't know, but the question is, we need to ask the question, because wouldn't you think that Duggan should at least disclose? But even if he did or he didn't, what he's done with with Dan Gilbert is unconscionable. Unconscionable. If you read the story, Dan Gilbert have taken the opportunity zone money for downtown. Now, in order to do that, there was a huge trick, and Forbes magazine got it out, and we just got this story too, how they had to undercount the census and all kind of, they engineered Dan Gilbert 8 opportunity zone money, all downtown cluster. So in the meantime, I had a building, a mammoth building on Grand River. It's been sitting for 15 years. It's trying to develop this monster. So I got a tenant. I had Foreman Mills in.
Yes.
So I was unable to put Foreman Mills in there because I did not have the gap funding. So I moved them across the street where I'm at Tower Center. We saved them, but we need to redevelop Mammoth building. Now I got a call. Hey, Herb, we got some money for you. We can do this and this. I got a call. You got some money for me. Now you took the money, and now you got it. But because it's election time now. I mean, Duggan to take his worst enemies and give them a job or anything. It's election time now. Now here's the other issue. Now I just want to be sober about this because I'm not. This is just regular business. I'm fighting a good fight for my people, for my city. Listen, I've lived my 7 scores, and right now, I'm here for the future, for the generation, for the kids that have not yet been born. I will physically die for them. I will fight the good fight because I don't mind dying because you're going to die anyway. Well, and I would rather die for something I'm fighting like hell for than to die for nothing. And right now, I'm fighting for our kids. I'm a youth advocate. Now, let me explain to you what happened here.
Okay.
As a group of people, Duggan well, let me stay with Dan Gilbert first, and then we'll go to the last item. With Dan Gilbert, they've engineered billions of dollars to buy downtown. 100 buildings.
Billions.
What city in America? There is no city in America that one man owns over half of the downtown, financed by public dollars, by public money.
Wow.
One person?
Wow.
I do not believe that Adam absolutely would not allow that. The good policy, even if you're white or black or blue or green, no one person should take more than 10% of a public pot. He took more than half, took all of the money and bought downtown with our money. Here we're a bunch of black people sitting up here allowing something like this.
And the question becomes, when they say they can't afford reparations, but they can afford to give that to Dan Gilbert, I have a problem with that.
Let's when we talk about reparations, I live in America and I'm happy to be in America. And, I've done 2 billion in deals. I show people through Strather Academy how we can get our own money. You understand? I get my reparations by doing deals and making millions of dollars and teaching other people how to do it. But let me explain to you something. The 320 million, it was 16,000 houses lost. 16,000. Now you say, well, Herb, all together, there was 200,000 houses that went through the auction. All that. What's 16,000 houses? As you take an average of just 20 grand a house, that's $320 million.
Wow.
Now, that money, those homes, these black people have been kicked out. Now, who's living in the houses now? People all over the world own the house and renting them back for us to rent, or the new Detroiters have come in and taken over. You understand? Yes. So what we have right now, that is, if you want to call that reparations, I don't call it reparations, but you call it whatever you want. We want to be restored. So there at least should be some kind of plan to say we're going to restore the homes, say land bank, give these people preferences. Here's a pot for $10 million, $20 million for restoration for the down payment for the people that lost the house. But no, you know where you put the 20 million? He put the 20 million in bike lanes, in communities that he won. Now, here we go again. There are 7 strategic neighborhood communities. And just look at them. Bagley stops at Wyoming, right? It doesn't go to Burwood, Griggs, Eileen, where, mostly like black people, because the white people are going to move in Bagley, 48221. That's where the funding went. That's where it stopped. Think about Rosedale Park and Grandmont stops at Asbury Park. He stopped exactly at Asbury Park. I called them, I hit the ceiling. I called up Kellogg and I asked them, how could they fund that? So you know what they've done? So I was still arguing. I said, it's wrong. He says, listen, you know, we got to see I understand Douglas tried to get the tax base up. Well, here's what the question is. You could develop the adjacent area too. Why not go from Asbury Park to Greenfield?
There you go.
Or take Russell Woods.
Yes.
You stop at Russell Woods? Okay, so that's an attractive area for white people. But how about between Dexter and Linwood? Now, the white people ain't going to move down there so quick yet because it looks scary. But can't we take all the things we're saying is let us develop just adjacent property next to where these are, and so we can take what maybe something that's more difficult and challenge and develop that at the same time. Simultaneous development. So these young kids, say that on Buena Vista, for example, they could walk down Buena Vista and they can see some pretty scary looking houses between Dexter and Linwood. But you know what? If they got some buddies in the neighborhood that live between Dexter and Broad Street, they look at those well-cured houses. What kind of psychological impact is that going to have?
Yes. Yes.
So I'm fighting for the kids. I am fighting for my community. I have nothing to lose. Somebody said, you got to be a fool to go against Duggan. A fool? I'm neither fearless nor a fool. And I don't care. I'm not eating off the public trough. I don't care.
And that just that makes you a community hero of sorts. If there were those who didn't agree with you in 2013, then they certainly may agree with you right now in 2021, that there needs to be a change because of those things that transpired between 2013 and 2021, such as those things that you've just mentioned in losing those houses. My mother was one of the ones who lost her house by overtaxation during that time period. There were other things that were going on at that time too, but I won't belabor this program by talking about it. But it is powerful that you are part of that now. And you were saying that out of the 4 people, and these were 4 Blacks, who supported Duggan in 2013, you were saying that maybe only 1 out of that 4 would grudgingly support Duggan now.
Well, now it's not even the 1, because I saw him at the NAACP dinner and I was talking to him and he said, man, we didn't get nothing out of that deal. I said, look at what he's done to us, man. He just leveraged us and he absolutely lied. You know, I tell you something. So I bought 6,000 houses. I tied them up on the auction. Duggan wanted them back. They told me to put up 50 million. They beat me up. He said, come to lunch. I went to lunch and he cut a deal with me. You give the 6,000 houses back, Herb. This was on a Friday. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to plug you into my guy that's coming in. His name is Art. Art was coming in. And what's Art's last name? Art was coming in and running the city planning department, right?
Okay.
He called and set an appointment for 2 o'clock Monday, because Arts came from 617 Boston area code. So I got his cell phone, 2 o'clock Monday. I gave the houses up. I got a call from Art at 10 o'clock, said Duggan called him and canceled the deal personally. I called Duggan a dozen times. They wouldn't even answer the phone. I said, man, you didn't done something like this here. I do a public announcement, I'm giving this back, and he turns around and cancels. Now, I'll tell you something. So I have another development. Now, look, this is personal. I'm not even doing about the personal stuff, but this is how he I was on his executive committee. I gave him his campaign headquarters. So I'm going to complain about it, because if he treats me like this, what do you think he'd do with the average person? Of the 4 people on his committee, his campaign manager, the Reverend on Woodward Avenue, and everybody know who that is. And then you got the contractor with the offices downtown. We know who that is. And me, none of us would vote for him, if you want to know the truth. Not one, because we know what he did. But I'm the only one standing up saying, but I said, that's okay. I'll take the arrows, because I can take it. I can take it. I don't mind taking arrows, but look at this. So I was developing Rogale Golf Course, 7 Mile and Berg Road.
Yes.
So I've got me architectural renderings. I went to the city to get my permit. And they said, well, look, we want to do a little survey of the neighborhood and see what people want. I said, okay. So they finished the survey. I said, look, we want to take and take this before the city council gets site plan approval. You know, I want to start the process. She said, hold on, Herb. So I got a deal from the seller. Said, we're canceling the transaction. And I said, what do you mean? The city gave me an offer. What? I said, the city went behind me. I gave the city, I said, here's my plan. They said, okay. And they go behind me, don't say one word to me, and take me out.
Oh boy.
And it wasn't done. I mean, and the veterans, they hit the ceiling because it was Veteran Village. And Sherry Diego, she hit the ceiling because we understood that this was going to be for the, couldn't they have Lee said, Herb, we're going to take, this is what he would do. So someone that dedicated their time and money and resources. So no, I don't like that, but I don't want people to say, oh, this is just a little personal vendetta you got. No, it's not. I personally, I do not like what he did, but no, I want to fight the fight for the good fight for the future. And for him to take Dan Gilbert and enrich him like that against us, one man. Hell, if, I mean, how about if Adam was in there?
And that was, let me ask you a question.
How about if I was there? But I mean, in other words, did you know how enriched we would be?
Wow. But
I
had a question for you, because this is interesting what we have at stake in this election. What do you feel is at stake in this mayoral election that goes for a vote on November 2nd, next month?
Our Black pride, respect. Are we gonna be publicly embarrassed like this? Leverage like this? Let me tell you something. We are the most leveraged people in the world. We own less than 1% of the gas stations and grocery stores. Even the cannabis, we only have 8% of the cannabis. We have 75% of the population and 15% of the economic activity.
Right.
We are the most stupid, most leveraged, most ignorant. Are we going to take our pride back? Does Black lives matter? If Black lives matter, then Black wealth matters and Black future leaders matter. And by definition, Black political leadership matters.
All right. Absolutely. I agree with you. Now, Mayor Duggan has said he will not debate Anthony Adams because he's saying Anthony Adams' campaign is about hate. And even Duggan's campaign manager, when asked what was Duggan referring to, pointed to a tweet by Anthony Adams saying that it's hard for Black people to buy land in the city of Detroit. Now, tell me, I know you might not have a law degree, but how is that hate speech?
Well, it's not hate speech, of course. Let me tell you, I'm the president-elect of the Detroit Association of Realtors, and I was elected president-elect a couple of months ago.
Congratulations.
And I'm a trustee at Hartford Memorial Baptist Church. Oh. And I sent Duggan a letter this week for the debate. I gave him the 5 o'clock yesterday. They're scared to debate. I said, Duggan, Adam says that you are scared to debate. Is this true or not? He have not refuted that. So we're going to publicly announce that he refused to debate him. So I have now bought some billboards, and he will hear from me.
Wow.
I'm going to give it everything I got. I'm going to fight hard as I can fight. I'm going to fight so hard because I believe that I know that if we did a poll, the poll would show that Adam would win by a decisive margin. But Adam could lose this election, and he will lose unless people understand that all they have to do is vote and he could win. Duggan got the power, all of the money, but all of this power and money don't vote.
Thank you.
We vote.
Can you explain what that means in terms of, even though he has all of these people from these corporations behind him, since they don't live in the city, some of them don't even live in the country, then how can they matter? The only people that matter if our votes count.
Well, there's one other thing too. And I'm going to be meeting with Anthony because he's a nice guy, and I don't want him to be so nice. You understand? We got to demand that we get as much time in the newspapers and on television as Duggan. I mean, they got to give us equal time. So Duggan sits up on the front page of the paper sitting with Mary at GM for a $50 million contribution. That's great. I'm glad they put the $50 million in there because they doing it in the Deerfield community, which is what we've adopted. We're redeveloping Calvert Street now. We do block by block. And I am so excited. But we've taken it up on our own to do these adjacent neighborhoods that the city would not do. We took it up on our own to do Dexter to Linwood, but we want to do it block by block. And hats off to General Motors. Thank you, General Motors. And they'll work with whoever the governor is. Dan Gilbert is going to work with whoever, the mayor is. Yes. Because you have no choice. So what I am saying to you, Detroiters, and those of you who are listening, is that if our pride means anything, if George Floyd's death means anything, is it now or never? Is this going to be fading from our memories, or are we going to seize the moment? Do we have enough guts? Do we have enough energy to fight the good fight that our parents fought for us? Don't forget Black Bottom. We were some rich black, we were rich, and prosperous all over the country, Greenwood, all over the place. And they just ran freeways right through and destroyed every single city. That was that was intentional. No, we haven't been able to get our power back, and we just destroyed us. When Young came in, we were able to start building back again. Like when Adam get in, we'll start building back again. Because we were stripped. We've been stripped under Duggan, and nobody knows it. People think Duggan is a hero, and he has screwed us like you won't believe it. Do you think I would say this?
About that? Can I ask you a little bit about that? Because you do have some people in this city in 2021 that are still looking for a white man to be their Messiah. I know you mentioned that you were a trustee at Hartford's church. That was my mother's church, so thank you. Yes, the world is small. The world is small. And yet what we talk about sometimes in our churches is that same mentality of waiting on a white Messiah. Can you address that a little bit, that maybe the Messiah isn't white after all? Be your own Messiah. What can you talk about that?
I got to tell you, I like good politicians. If they're black or white, I mean, I could deal with a white guy like Governor Milliken. He was one hell of a governor. I love that guy. You understand? I mean, he was a hell of a governor, and he was a Republican. Now, so you could be on the opposite side as long as your policies are good. Good public policy is what it's all about. Now, Duggan, it appears there's good public policy. It appears, but it's not. It's flawed. It is deeply flawed. He disproportionately allocate public resources to his friends and to people he identify with. And he don't look like me. He don't identify. He may not realize it. And it may be so psychologically, he may think that what he's doing is the right thing, that he should put the money in to attract white people back in the neighborhood first, and then redevelop the black neighborhood. He may think it is okay, that it's a tough decision, but he's not going to tell people that they don't have to pay property taxes, because these properties, they're in great places in 48206. A lot of white people are going to get it, and he can get this tax base in. So he didn't tell anybody, but they got sued. So now the city says, okay, guess what? We want to tell you that you don't have to pay property taxes if you're in the low-income tax bracket. And guess what? We got 1,500 houses we're going to give out. They gave out 1,500 houses, but there were 16,000 houses left. There's 15,000 more. So Duggan, Duggan, are you going to help? If Duggan turned around and said, I'm going to restore the $300 million, and I'm going to tell Dan Gilbert that he has got to take and carry his own water, and that he's got to repay the amount that's over and above he should have had. You got my attention then. He has bad policies. That's the problem, and black people don't know it. And I said, oh my God, we don't know it.
Yes.
And look at the preachers. He named streets after them and give them $50. And they all love him. Taking
My
pictures.
goodness. $50. Wouldn't the fee for just getting the water out of their parking lot be more than $50?
Yeah, I was joking about 50. I'm talking about he give 50,000, a million, or whatever, but he's buying it. He's absolutely buying it. And so what we would like Duggan to do is to debate Anthony so the public can see. Let Anthony ask him the question about the 16,000. Maybe Duggan got a good answer. Maybe Duggan say, no, here's this here. Let Duggan answer. Duggan, will you answer? Will you debate it?
And that's it's a different outcome in this election than it seems to have been in the past. Because I was here in 2013. He debated Benny Napoleon during that election. I was here in 2017. He debated Coleman Young II in that election. So if there was hate speech that he should be afraid of, it should have been a fear maybe in 2013, because that was 40 years of a Black mayorship on the line.
Right.
Weren't we hate speech? I'm just concerned. Maybe he's afraid, like you said.
Right. No, I tell you something bad. I tell you what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It's good political strategy not to debate Adam, because he's ran his polls, and his polls say that the majority of Black people would vote for Anthony, and he would definitely lose. If he debate him, and he would draw attention. And why draw attention? Right now, Anthony doesn't have attention. He's not in the major newspapers. He will not holler and scream and say, I demand it. And he will. I shouldn't say he won't, but we've got to up this game. So what Duggan is saying, I will not debate him because I will draw attention and I will shoot myself. I'll fall on my own sword. Of course, I'm not going to debate him, and I understand it. But we want the questions answered. Now, Duggan is a good debater, so stand up there and debate him, Duggan.
Wow. And
so that's where we're at.
That's where we're at. And that's a powerful place to be at, to recognize our own power, because that's an old DTE saying, know your own power. And so we have that there. And I wanted to thank you, because I didn't know. Wow.
So in other words, I believe that Anthony was the best person for the job. He was the deputy mayor. There was no scandals. Him and his wife both are lawyers. I've closed a lot of transactions. He is a solid person in the community, and he will do what is right. I guarantee you, he will not let me or anybody else buy up all the downtown and give us all one person all the money. It's the most embarrassing thing of all. You understand? Yes. So we've got to say there's some accountability here. No, we're not going to put up with this. There's got to be some accountability, and we can get our pride back. Like I said, we're the most leveraged people on earth. It is just embarrassing because we're the consumers. Everybody live on us. So they're coming here, they all live on us. They live, the whole suburbs sucking on us. We're the consumers. We're the ones that buy the expensive liquor, the expensive shoes, and expensive purses. You know what I mean? At the liquor store, they don't even have any of the expensive liquor anymore. They bid up. I forgot that drink. You wanted to bid up how much you want to pay for. They're out of expensive liquor. We are absolute idiots. I need somebody to say, stop being a fool. Get your pride back. And somebody got to sit up here and tell us that. And Adam can do it.
And I think what you're singing is RESPECT. Find out what it means to me. I think you're singing it. This is the song you're singing. And I am so glad that you're bringing it out in October, which is often the scariest month for politicians, especially incumbents, when it's now time to vote out some of these sellouts. So I want to thank you, Herb Stratther, for coming on this UIN special report and blowing the whistle so that our people can know for this election, know what their power is, and vote.
Let's do it. But one other thing too, everybody listening, just take $10 and send it to Anthony Adams for mayor, just $10. Will you do that? Thank you.
Okay, all right.